This is Dan Max, the trading agent. This is a stock trading and recap channel that I wanted to share to the masses. In a probability game, there's no certainty. Here are my insights and predictions. This is Dan Max at EXP Realty, aka the trading agent. It is Thursday, November 18th, 2021. Little post-market recap. This is going to be a long one, I have a feeling. There's going to be a lot of interesting things here. We got to talk about where we were wrong, where we were right. Remember the Back to Basics series? Check out the Familiar to the 2000s that I dropped earlier yesterday. And yeah, if you got questions, come by the Discord room. Don't be, watch these videos. You're going to learn a lot. And if you don't understand something, leave a comment. Come chat with us, myself. Yeah. From there, let's get started. Bitcoin. High and tight, and then backing off. I said if 57.5 breaks, would not be surprised by the 53,000 range or this trend line. Maybe they all line up together at some point in the future. Some people might say this is a failed breakout, which I would agree. Let's see what happens. That's why you roll your stops. You take some off if you need to. You can buy back. The levels matter. We're breaking it, as you can see. Yesterday did not really close that well. I would just keep it all a matter of perspective. That's why you're always selling into strength, buying dips. Not always 100 fully invested. However you feel comfortable, but have a plan. I hate to see dips come on. It's something you want to buy and you're fully invested and you just can't do anything, because shit like this happens in Roblox actually. So a lot of people were asking about Roblox, where it might sell off or start taking profits. Well, we got into it in the 120s, and holy shit, did it not hit the 2 times range exactly. Someone was trying to say the other day that Fibonacci's, they didn't really understand them, think they were a big deal. That Fibonacci sequence literally picked the top today. Now, is this the overall top of the uptrend forever? I don't know. But short term, long wick, hit the 2 times range, above average volume, it's probably going to consolidate. Either way, if you sold today up at the 2 times range like some of us were, taking some off or selling covered calls, it's no different than Tesla when it was up at 1250. You got close enough to start really locking it in. If you locked it in today, you feel like a genius. It's no different than buying the dips. Figuring out where you should sell near the highs is so fucking important. People don't get it. They just buy and hold, and they just never do a damn thing. And then when shit hits the fan, they just bury their head. RIVN, we liked it at 140. Dead wrong. This is the reality game of trading. We thought this level would hold 140. It just didn't. I actually started buying some around the 0.618 and a little above, because I thought the puke from all the puts being bought by retail might be a contrarian trade. Wrong. It just went lower. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. That's why when you are picking bottoms, you try to you try to buy partially. Just like the higher you rise, you should be selling some, because this kind of shit happens. It's the same, like flip the chart over. It's the same kind of experience. You're just selling high, buying low. That's the goal here. If you keep it that fucking simple, trading's not going to be rocket science to you. Let's get into EXP, because this is a company stock. Talked about it was at the downtrend and it broke it. But here's what got a little interesting today. Kind of have a little hammer here. I don't know if this is a temporary thing, this 40-ish area. I know people might say, well, why are you going to compare Zillow to it? But hey, they're in the same space. You have to understand, sectors act similarly. Zillow got crushed today, but also keep in mind Kathy Wood, who I do not respect one bit, because she is the Pied Piper of retail traders. And when everybody jumps in and follows her, they ultimately get burned, because she doesn't have a plan other than to hold forever. And guess what? She burned people who bought Zillow. I think she was recommending this last year. You got a nice little head and shoulder top. I hate to do this to her, but you can see it so well. If you've been trading long enough, that is a head and shoulders top. But let's be honest. Now that she's selling, that might be the contrarian signal to buy. If she was the contrarian signal at the high, she's the contrarian signal at the low. That's all I'm going to say. If you're looking at EXPI, our company stock, I've said this a billion times. We peaked. Now we're consolidating. Could we go lower? Absolutely. But remember, it ran from, single digits up to a 90. That's a strong move. Very strong move. So just play it as it is. 40 level. OPEX. Stocks like to get hit to certain numbers. The stuff seems so foreign to some people, but this could be a $40 pin job for OPEX in November. If that sounds like too much, come by the room. We'll explain what OPEX is just in general. But if you sold some and you get paid in stock, just be smart about it. Learn to trade it. Learn to understand what's going on with it. Just trust yourself that buying and holding sometimes just doesn't always pay off. Ask my friends who bought and got into Cisco in the 90s when they started working there, Nortel, Lucent, all these companies, and they owned the company stock. The company stock ended up fucking them because they thought they were going to retire on it. And then guess what? Those companies got absolutely demolished. The dollar, we talked about breaking out. Well, it's coming back inside the channel potentially, back testing. This happens a lot when you break out of channels. I always tell this to people. You can break out and back test. Why do the back tests matter? They usually can be shakeout moves. Well, what did we say the other day when we broke out? We said the volume was pretty good, but we needed to see continuation. We thought it would get up here. Well, the volume died, and guess what? Profits got taken. People take profits. If you don't take profits like other people, guess what? You are just a fish. TLT, we talked about this was probably due to bounce. Filled the gap. We're bouncing. We said the 20-50 day was going to be important, that moving average. Well, we're there now. Let's see what happens. I mean, it could just be an oversold rally. We went down from 152 down to 144. It's 8 points in the bond market. Bouncing back seems pretty normal to me. Let's see how high it bounces. As you can see, I see a left shoulder and a right shoulder and a head potentially. This could be a head and shoulders bottom. I know it's not at the bottom of the chart, but this sometimes happens mid-pattern. You had the W here. Now you have the head and shoulders bottom potentially. Or watch this 200-day and this green line. If this green line breaks, bond prices are going higher. TLT is going lower. Just keep it that simple. Trading really has to be, guys. You can't overthink this shit. The VIX, the volatility index, we've been saying for how many days? Almost a week now. Hold the 20-day. It's holding the 20-day. Here's the W. Holding the 20-day. Really that simple. SPY was pretty rocky today. It was interesting. It was up and down. Have a doji back near the high. Today could be, indicative of toppish action, or seasonality takes over and we go back up towards the channel high. This market feels very tenuous, meaning that I could see it going high, but it also feels like it's due to pull back. That's why I'm buying, every stock that I recommend, I'm putting tight stops on it, because if the market does pull back, they're all going to be wrong. Because the rising tide lifts all boats, but a lower tide doesn't? No. If the market goes lower, all those boats are going to sink too. Just keep it that simple. Again, simple. Simplicity. Not overthinking it. QQQ. Back up near the highs. You had some tech names that were acting a little better today. We'll get into some of those. But, hey, keep an eye on it up here. Let's see what happens. It's OPEX, 400 level. I'd be interested to see how we close tomorrow. If it closes near 400, don't act like you didn't know. You heard it here first, and if you knew, you've been trading long enough, you might have expected it. Gold was interesting today. It bounced after dropping. You have another doji. It's just more indecision up here. I mean, this candle is so indecisive. It literally opened and closed at the same price. That thing is so small, you can't even see it. Don't even worry about it. We're chopping up. I've said high and tight. Hold this area. Hold all of this little band. Just let me clear up some of these lines. Just keep it that simple. That's all you need to do. High and tight is fine. Chopping at the top could be a drop or the breakout. You have to remember, this trend line is obviously important, hence why we're chopping there. Keep it that simple. Don't overthink it. If we fail, have your stops. You can always rebuy. GDX, what do we say? Get over the 200-day. It might chop and consolidate. You have the head and shoulders bottom. Talked about this, every night. If you would have bought at 31, you're feeling pretty good. just watch the 200-day. This gap, it could always fill quickly. You never know. Be prepared to be wrong. I tell people that this is not a certainty game. It's a preparation for all scenarios. And if you can predict the scenarios, then you can prepare well for it. All right, AG, talked about this. Got up in the blue box, pulling back to the 20-day. Not really that strong. Not ideal action if you own it. But if you're in at 12, you're hoping for higher prices. So pulling back $1 here and there should be expected in an uptrend. Keep it that simple. KL. The W pattern. I knew we might backtest this 20-day. The market is just... The gold market and the miners are acting real choppy. We filled the gap today at 43.70. Choppy, down. Choppy. I don't like that it's back down here, but I also have to look at the volume. And it just literally, it couldn't be any lower. I don't trust it. That's not true conviction of selling. That's just sellers, people taking profit, and just not enough buyers. It's really that simple. Silver, we said the 200-day in blue was coming. We hit it. We backed off. Doesn't really look bad to me. If you zoom out, you can see why this might not be a big deal. Here's your downtrend. It's broken. Higher highs, higher lows, chopping. It's normal. Institutions and hedge funds are buying silver again. I can't remember the last time I read all that kind of stuff, but if they're buying, that means somebody has soaking up demand on drops. Letter X, this one's acting a little disappointed. I hope it doesn't fill the gap here at 23s. But since you broke the 20-day, which we talked about, when it broke the 25 area, it could drop. I mean, again, check the videos. This is the stuff we're talking about. You know this is all possible. How you trade it. If you do nothing, fine. But if you have plans, you're scalping, over trading, you better know what's going on. AMD. This candle again, it got over the trend line just like it did here, and then it backed right off. I don't know for certain. Let me read. Let's really get this thing dialed in. Maybe we should have seen that coming. Yeah. Okay. Whatever. It's about right there. Higher high, but this candle didn't really close any. It's a very difficult candle to predict the next one, because hitting the upper trend bound would be bearish, but we closed above the old highs. So that tells me that you got to watch this in the morning. That's all. It's really that simple. Some tech was acting good, some not so well. Apple, thank me now and just call me later. What did I say? Wait for the head and shoulders top to be invalidated. Head or shoulder, head, shoulder. So once we break this green line, I literally drew it for you. I drew this out, all this crap, as a joke. Look at the volume. That's a confirmed breakout. Looks strong. Making new all-time highs. I don't know if there's news on Apple today, but it looks strong. Try to project the upside. Let's do that real quick. Do the trend lines and the fib numbers. I would think the 162 area would be the first resistance. Good to get up in near 170. Would not be surprised. 173 is the 2 times range. Hey, this is a winner. That is just simple shit. Waiting. I said for weeks, do not buy, 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 buy. I'm personally not in it. I missed it. I have other things I was watching. But hey, you know what? You still have to give yourself props for identifying when trades do work, even if you're not in them. It's a learning lesson. You learn that there's always something to learn. I mean, there's things. Getting better at predicting is sharpening the sword, friends. MicroStrategy, little disappointing. We talked about the breakout. Got up to retest the highs. Now you're pulling back. I don't know what to say. The volume sucks. It's OPEX, CHOPEX. Maybe it's shaking people out. I would wait to buy it. I would wait for higher prices. That kind of sucks to say, but I need to see it get back over this downtrend. Closing just under it, a little nerve-wracking. But that's why you watch it. If this is something you're trading, you just watch it. And you can see, you can let it play out. Because if it does get back over it and it's going to resume uptrend, it should get to 900. It's worth waiting for. That's that simple. Tesla. 618 tested yesterday. We talked about it. We needed to see a hold over the 20-day. Well, if you watch today, it literally bounced down to the 20-day and bounced up. Today's candle's not really that great. Again, CHOPEX. I don't necessarily trust this action, but the longer it holds over the 20-day, the more confident you should be that it's bullish. Just keep it that simple. PENN. This is one that I've been buying. You know what? I actually bought a little more today. I know it broke below some of my support area, but it's ChopX. I don't really trust the down volume. This area in blue, I guess. See, this computer doesn't have it drawn correctly. That's the actual bottom. So I like it down here. Dave Portnoy's buying a bunch of stock. But guess what? If I'm wrong, I'm gone. It's that simple. If you look at the hourly, I was seeing some anomalies intraday. This candle kind of dropped, and then we popped, and then chop, chop, chop the rest of the day. This was interesting to me a little later in the day, the last hour. Somebody was buying. Do we know anything for sure? But like I said, the money flow made a lower low. I'm interested to say if we make a higher low next time. I pay attention to money flow every once in a while, intraday. The historic volume, I mean, the volatility, I mean, this is amazing if you can understand the historic volatility. Typically, when it tops, you either can drop, or you can be about to break out, like coming off of lows. It's pretty interesting. It's not an easy indicator, hence why I don't watch it all the time. But I just pay attention to it because when the historic volatility is high, going into OPEX, now this is the key. Man, I could do another video on this. Let me write that down. OPEX and historic volatility. When you see historic volatility at highs during OPEX, that's usually something is about to change. I could be wrong. It's a probability thing where I think it's about like 70-80%. This is where I want to see a bottom during OPEX. And if you keep wondering what OPEX is, options expiration, I need to do a video on it clearly because I'm talking about it a lot, but it's only 1 week out of the month. It's an interesting week. We'll talk about it more. XOP. But PENN, I like it down there. Keep it simple. Have your stop. If you're wrong, you're gone. Said if it broke the 20-day, you're gone. Yesterday, we said you're gone. Today, you had a little doji. Hit the 50-day. Moving averages, pretty important. We talk about that all the time. Moving averages, Fibonacci's. Hold the 50-day. That's the first major support. We talked about that. It had to be. It hit there. It bounced. 100 level is now the line in the sand. If it goes lower, goes lower. VALE, this is a Scotty special because I know we talked about this over and over. We said it should form a W. Well, look at that gap today. Let me get this shit out of here. It said the W. I like it. I like this because you blew out with a gap and the candle was small. So all the intraday action, somebody had some stopping power. Somebody had some stopping power. And if you saw it intraday at the close or in the last hour, somebody was buying the shit out of VALE. I repeat, that is stopping volume. It stopped this big ass red candle. It stopped all these this whole move. And look at how the volume is at the low. That's what you want to see. Some big whale is buying VALE. Keep that in mind. I don't know if it's going to be tomorrow and it starts rising, but somebody with fucking big cojones, a big account, all of our accounts combined times 1,000, had to buy that and stop that. Not you, me, and the horse I rode in on. PAAS. Keep an eye on VALE. Holding up, high and tight. Like it. Broke the downtrend. Talk about hitting 20-day, 50-day. Looks great. Let's end on Exxon Mobil. Trying to keep it consistent, so if you watch these videos, you know where the order is naturally. Said we need to hold the 63, 64. It has a wick. The volume just sucks. It's not really showing me much, but doesn't mean you can't pull back on light volume during ChopX. Hold this area. Should be fine. If you got questions, again, come into the Discord room. Subscribe. Watch the Back to Basics. Knowledge is power. If you don't have it, then you need to find it. So either learn from people that are willing to help, read books, ask questions, be humble. I don't know what else to say, but one of these days people are going to see that just like anything, if you're educated, you know how to make better decisions. It's no different than going to a car dealership and knowing what you're doing, buying a house, having education in general. Think about it. It puts you at a higher level to everyone who's not educated, especially when it comes to trading. Most traders are not that educated. They're doing what other people have told them, and they don't know why. They don't understand. They just follow blindly. That is dangerous as fuck. Anyway, Dan Max, EXP Realty. AKA the trading agent, signing out. Keeping. Oh, sorry, I gotta say this arc. I had this chart forever, and I said, people, you're in the trap bull zone, and you cannot get over the 120s. I gotta end it there. That Kathy Wood shit just is hilarious. Anyway, take care. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you like the content. Also smash the like button, share with your friends, and add a comment. If there's a topic or stock you'd like me to give you insight about, let me know in the comment section. I'll do my best to answer your question. Thanks.